Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, Spence, let's trip out.
I'm afraid not every human is as smurfy as they should be, Sassy.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Yeah, certainly. Here we are.
This pizza pie won't pass. Too many calories. Oh, the rest is okay. Natural light! Get it off me! Get it off me!
I don't know the meaning of the word chip.
Documented Geek Day.
Yo, Burgundy, chew on this.
You'll never cut the mustard, mean winner!
Food fight!
Your history, Private Pizza. Pow! And your lunch. Combat curtain. Fire!
What's going on?
Joy Slam is food again, Mom.
Food fighters, figures in combat carton eat sold separately. Toys do not walk and talk.
Wow, new Hidden Treasure cereal is amazing! Some pieces have fruit flavor inside, some don't.
Nobody knows which ones.
I'll figure it out.
Hold on, HG. We'd rather be surprised. That's the fun of Hidden Treasures. Memory when you discover a yummy blast of cherry, orange, and grape flavor.
I'll drill inside them to find out.
Don't take the fun out of breakfast, HG.
Part of this complete breakfast, new hidden treasures, the taste that's full of surprises.
We're all in Eastern. So we're good. Woo. Okay. Pop culture. Punk is in the geek den. Welcome back, bud.
Up, long time no den. Miss you guys. Thank you so much for having me back.
We have no idea officially how long it's been. We'd have to go back into the log and see.
I think it's been about a year.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah, I've seen Kreger out in the wild. But it's been a minute, yeah. I think, in fact, last time I was in the den, I think I probably had a very different looking background behind me. I was definitely in my old place in Hillsborough, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You're definitely a different location.
Well, welcome to the new pop culture punk land.
Did you do that yourself?
I'm pretty sure I had a different background too whenever you were with us.
That's really nice.
It is really nice. I like the red and black.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. It's pretty cheap. It's it's just stuck onto foam core, and then I tack the foam core onto the wall, and boom.
Well, even then, the red and black, James was saying, it's a classic combination. It works well for all kinds of shit.
Yeah. Oh, that's two of my favorite colors for sure.
It's my favorite. It's definitely my favorite color scheme.
Oh, definitely.
We are here today to kick off something I've been talking about doing on this show for a while, probably longer than the last time you were on the show, Chris. But it's been an idea in my brain. Like, Kevin Smith is important in all of our lives. We're all fans in one way or another. And I just wanted to have us go back and relive those movies that we A, grew up on, and B, were so influenced by. And just, dissect them, do what we do. Because why not? We love the guy. Clerks is, 31 years old? 30, 31? When did that movie come out? 93, 94?
Yeah, it's 30 years old now.
I think you're probably right. Let's be positive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 94.
Yeah. 94?
Yeah.
Was it really?
So
yeah.
So we're gonna do this over a period of time, indeterminate. But tonight, this recording, we are talking about Clerks and Mallrats, the first two in the View Askew universe. And probably my two favorite in the entire group of movies. Not just because they're the first two. In fact, that has nothing to do with it, but I belly laugh like a little kid every time I watch them. Yeah,
I did that with Dog.
Yeah, I'd say you throw Dogma in there, and you've got like the perfect trilogy for me of Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Went to see that in theaters. There was with a girl, a friend, a girlfriend, a friend girl, a female girl. Let's go with that. I was there with somebody that was not male, who literally had everybody, like, she was laughing so fucking hard that every person in the theater was stopping to stare at us because she was laughing so hard. So I was laughing so hard at her, laughing at Dogma, and I did.
That is why you go to see movies in the theaters, though, in my opinion, especially comedies. Like, that's when the audience loses it, you lose it. Like, I bet you everyone around you guys laughed more because of that too.
Oh, dude, fucking mirth is definitely a group thing. Like, it is 100%. Like, it transcends humor. It becomes something completely different. You cannot avoid it. It's the same as fucking, even, I bet Craig would have said, like, going to a horror movie with a group of friends. Same thing. Like, it's not scary when you're sitting there watching it by yourself. When you're with a group of friends, though, it suddenly becomes so much more exciting and so much more intense.
Yeah.
So same thing with any comedy. Although I would argue that Kevin Smith shit stands pretty well on its own too. You just go sit by yourself and watch it and still get something out of it.
Totally. I mean, that was how I discovered Mallrats, which was my gateway drug into the View Askew universe. I hadn't seen Clerks, but something about like the cover of Mallrats was just calling out to me. I was like, what is this? Is this like I'm a kid that lives at the mall? Is this what I think this is? Because this sounds like it's totally for me. And then there was a quote. I think there was a quote on that original VHS, like the John Hughes of the 90s or something like that, or a John Hughes film for the 90s.
Something very, on the VHS, 100%. It literally said something exactly like that.
That was enough to make me be like, okay, then now I am definitely
the Breakfast
sold.
Club for the 90s. They name dropped the Breakfast Club in order to fuck it. It was the Breakfast Club for the 90s.
Oh God, they used to do that shit. They did that on fucking The Faculty too. Like, this is the Breakfast Club meets X-Files. Like, don't elevator pitch me the fucking poster quote. But in the case of Kevin Smith, it was true. He is, I think, the worthy heir to the John Hughes. What John Hughes was to 80s teen movies, I think Kevin Smith was to 90s teen movies, and that's for better or worse. You know what I mean? Of course, I love both. But
I would say that love him or hate him, without Kevin Smith, Joss Whedon wouldn't have actually gotten the hit that he got. Like,
which is ironic because Whedon obviously came around quite a bit before Kevin Smith.
But the heavy conversation. The idea, like, you could look at Mallrats, and part of what everybody identified was the fucking conversation. Like Brody and fucking dude walking through the mall talking about shit and what they're gonna do for the day, and like the fact that you face forward or you face the possibility of damage and like all that shit. Heavy conversation. The entire movie was not one thing after another, it was conversation. Setting up the next thing. So Joss Whedon, if you go back and look at, I mean, bear in mind this isn't about Joss Whedon, but I'm going to point it out anyways. If you go back and look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer, part of what that show was new for was the fact that there was so much dialogue in what should have been an action horror comedy show.
It's very 90s too, though. Like, Kevin Williamson writes like that. Tarantino writes like that. Aaron Sorkin writes like that. Very dialogue, peppy, snappy, like driven just by dialogue. A lot of walk and talks, a lot of like over talking, a lot of sciencey, and I'm not dissing any of those. Those are some of my favorite writers. All those guys,
wonderful shows. That's like, they pull you in because of that. It's character development, right?
Like those guys are the voice of the 90s. You add like self-awareness to that, and boom, you've got exactly what the 90s is really all about. Like, I mean, it's even present in, it's all over Kevin Smith stuff too. It's just the self-awareness is a little bit wittier. Brody knows he's a fucking comic book nerd, and he's like, that's not normal, but he doesn't give a shit. He's totally unapologetic about it. And that, I think, is a big part of what makes Brody so appealing in that movie. And it's interesting. One thing I've always loved Mallrats but it's almost like they got the leads split, you know? Like Brody is the side guy, but he really kind of should have been the lead.
Yeah.
And TS, there's not a whole lot to TS because they cut out so much of his fucking story.
True.
Well, yeah, but there was also like, it was from an editing standpoint, after a while, there was almost no point because the other characters were way more interesting than he was.
It's true, yeah.
That's not Jeremy London's fault. Was it Jason London or Jeremy? Which one was it? Jeremy, right?
I always forget which London is. I think it's Jason. And yeah, Jason's in Mallrats, I think, and Jeremy is in Days.
Jeremy's in
Days Confused, yeah.
Jason London, first off, he plays the part well. It was edited well. You can't tell.
Oh, yeah, no, he's great. I love him. I was just watching Tu Wong Fu with him.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, without him, the movie, it still would work. Like, it really, you could put anybody in his place. He was the forlorn fucking lover. Confused.
Sometimes a movie just needs a guy like that at the center who's just kind of reacting to things, who's not so much proactive. Like, if you think about, like, Back to the Future, you know, Marty McFly is not really proactive at all in Back to the Future. He's just reacting to everything that happens. The whole movie is just him reacting to this, him reacting to that, and then he gets Back to the Future, you know? It's like everyone else that's doing the things.
And you could say that about Mallrats to an extent. You could say Jason London is literally the straight man to the rest of the movie's fucking comedy.
Yeah.
Like, he is just there to be observing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well put. And of course, I feel like we have to give some love, some accolades to Shannon Doherty, R.I.P.
God, that was shitty.
Yeah, seriously, right? Like, I love Shannon Doherty so much. 90210 was an institution. I think it's the ultimate 1990s time capsule, and also another worthy successor to the John Hughes throne.
It was it
was
100% for people watching TV at night. They made a fucking teen show for teenagers at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night on a new network, and suddenly they're like, "This is our network. This is us watching everything."
I just saw a fucking preview for Fox's 1991 Halloween Bash, and I wanted so badly to go back in time and to watch fucking you know, Halloween episode of 90210, the first Treehouse of Terror from The Simpsons, and Drexel's Class, the haunted house episode. Like, fuck, we were kings and we had no idea.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a sad way to look back on things, but it's also true. I mean, even fucking like, there's like occasionally, do you guys ever have the nightmare where you're back in high school? Anybody ever had that dream?
Luckily, I haven't had that for a long time, but yeah, it's happened. Yeah.
I don't dream much these days because of
here's the thing. My nightmare had to do with getting the fucking high school tacos that they had at lunch. That was literally the thing I was concerned with.
Oh wow!
Now I'm going to fuck. Had to bring that.
It gets stupider as you get older.
Thanks for the fucking PTSD.
Oh man, yeah, high school taco meat can't be good.
God,
it's not fucking
dog food
stale burrito things. They're not even yeah, I don't know what it is, but they worked really well. And then they had that cheese that looked like cheese but wasn't cheese. That's
the day after it's sloppy Joe meat, it's taco meat, and that's already 2 days after it was like Salisbury steak. 3 days after it was meatballs. Yeah.
At my school, we had these things. They were called chicken turnovers. It was just like a pastry with chicken inside and gravy on it. It was creation effort.
That sounds like a front to the delicate nature of chicken.
No, seriously, it does. Like, somebody be like, "Okay, chicken turnovers," and somebody else be like, "That's not fucking chicken. Fuck you."
Yeah. That sounds like a way to violate like a chicken. Like, honestly, chicken turnover, like cow tipping or something.
So it's got there's no way the protein content's the same. It's just impossible. That's what an egg fears becoming. There's no fucking way.
So did you guys see getting back on track a little, did you guys see Mallrats or Clerks first?
Mallrats. For me,
Mallrats.
That was your introduction. For me, it was Final Fantasy VII, PlayStation 1. Anybody play it? Anybody? No. Okay. So, Craig, thank you. You played it. So the PlayStation 1, I had an apartment at the time. I was 17 years old. I moved out of my house. I was living with like my best friend that I grew up with and his girlfriend, and he got a PS1 and he got Final Fantasy VII because, he played the other ones on Super Nintendo. I was a Genesis kid, so I had no idea what it was. I promise you this wraps back around. So he's got this, but he's also working all the time. I myself only work 10 hours on a late shift overnight. So I'd get home and my day was different. So I'd have access to the PS1 and I just sat down, I played whatever disc was in it. It was Final Fantasy VII. So I got so obsessed with that game that I quit my job. I had a stand-up ashtray that sat next to my chair in the living room and a fucking like Mr. Coffee on the stand next to me. And I would drink coffee and smoke cigarettes and fucking play Final Fantasy VII. And that is how I lived my life for like months until my friend's fucking girlfriend, Miranda, came home with a new VHS, Mallrats. We had the one TV. So she was like, hey, can we watch this? Can you stop? And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. So we stopped. The next thing I know, I'm like, holy shit, that was hilarious. And I went and tracked down Clerks afterwards. Told you it would come back.
For me, I'm not sure because first Kevin Smith movie I remember seeing was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And so I was like
wow,
12 when that came out. Yeah.
Oh, you youngin'.
Yeah.
At this point, it's only in by name. But so like eventually I got around to watching Clerks and Mallrats, and I'm pretty sure I saw Clerks before Mallrats, but I honestly don't remember. But I watched them back to back either way, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. I just remember falling in love the instant I watched both of those movies, just because I already knew I was going to like them, just because I love stupid humor, and Jay and Silent Bob is nothing but stupid humor, like especially in Strike Back. Like, come on.
So it's interesting then.
Nothing but fart and dick jokes. Great.
So it must have been kind of by the time you saw Mallrats and they're walking off with the monkey at the end, you knew where that was going. So like, to most of us, we just thought that was a random thing. I was like, what the fuck is the monkey there for? I don't know. That's dope though. I love that touch. Like,
right.
The fact that it paid off later was great, but none of us really expected that to really be anything. I don't think.
How did they say it? They said it. Suzanne will show back up when Jay and Silent Bob return. What did it say?
Or something, yeah. But as for Jay and Silent Bob, that's a story for another time or something like that. Or we'll get to that one day.
They mentioned her name Suzanne because they're playing Suzanne from Weezer over it while they're walking away.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Like they're walking with the monkey. They're like, Suzanne will return or something. There's a thing about it. They don't say Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
That's such a great song, though.
Oh yeah. That's probably my favorite Weezer song. Honestly, I know this is kind of like whatever. Don't at me in the comments, but like I've never been the hugest Weezer fan. Like I like them; they're good. I'm not like nothing against them.
California's greatest garage rock band.
But like Suzanne is my jam. Maybe it's just because I love the line, even Izzy / and Axl Rose, when I call you, put them all on hold. Like there's just a little thing. Like who the hell else would say that? Like
wait a second. Okay, so before we go too far off, because there was something that related back to Clerks for all this for me. When I mentioned the Final Fantasy thing and tracking down Clerks later, right? So I watched Clerks, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it 3 times the first day I saw it because I was like, I missed something. Why am I missing? Because I couldn't understand why I enjoyed it so much. The only other black and white movie I'd ever seen that I enjoyed was Young Frankenstein. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're the same. They're not the same, but they gave me the same dopamine, like satisfaction. I'm not sure. I don't know what to put here. I just enjoyed it a great deal. Black and white, regardless, even though it was a decision made to save money on Kevin Smith's part.
Yeah.
What's hilarious, like at the time, they were like, you chose to do it in black and white to draw attention to this. And he was like, yep, sure did. Whatever. Which I think is hilarious. The fact that he just ran with it. He was like, is that what they're saying? That's what happened.
I love that. Always play with their minds.
Yeah, no, there was that, and there was the fact that the whole thing about Bob having his statement or soliloquy or whatever in every episode, with the exception of no tickets in, I forgot which one that was, but
Dogma.
Okay, so with the exception of Dogma, he has an entire paragraph, and it's all because Jason Mewes didn't feel comfortable saying that. It was supposed to be Jason Mewes that said it.
Yeah.
And he didn't feel comfortable spitting it all out, so he was like, I'll do it. And he did it. It became a thing. Also, it's a great statement in the original movie. Like, it's from a dude standpoint, any guy's standpoint, the whole idea, that whole thing about being like, there's a ton of chicks in the world that'll do this, that, and the other thing, but most of them aren't going to bring lasagna at work. Most of them are just going to step on your heart.
Yeah.
Right.
It's great, yeah.
He always had the wisest words.
Yeah.
It was I don't know if it was an age thing and it still stands out to me, or if it's just because legitimately at the time I was like, man, that's a fair fucking point.
Yeah.
Whatever you want about anything else, that particular statement, she did indeed bring him lunch at work.
Right.
True.
Now,
the other one
watching. Do what, Jason?
The other one fucked a corpse in the bathroom. So, I'm just saying, like, it's gonna weigh him out.
Oh boy, Sonny, you got anything softer? This stuff's really rough in there.
Dude, he must have died mid-stroke. Can they do that? Oh yeah, happens.
Who here has worked in a gas station?
Anybody? I actually did work in a gas station briefly. I've done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never worked in a gas station, but I have worked in McDonald's, like front register, and it's close. It's close. The only thing I don't do is sell cigarettes and gas. Really, I sell you the food.
Yeah.
You should sell Chuli's chewing gum.
I did sell USA Today's.
This guy really worked.
Well, let me tell you about another group of people that were just doing their job.
But my point is, you've worked face to face with customers, so just how, and you're working in restaurants, bars, whatever. If you've ever worked face to face with the general public, the asinine questions you get throughout the day.
Yep.
And so you relate very well to Dante in that scene. So, Sonny boy, you got anything softer? Or you got the rough stuff back there?
No, they got bigger tits in there. That's one of my favorite quotes.
The stupid questions of the one guy, like, literally the whole dude, what do you mean you got no ice? I got to drink this coffee hot. That dude, every time that line, like, so you were a McDonald's guy. I was a Waffle House cook for decades. Fucking decades.
Oh, I'm right.
James knows, yeah.
The ice, I have to drink this coffee hot. Yes, you stupid fuck. Our coffee it is made with boiling water. If I touch it with my finger, the top two layers will dissolve. It's fucking hot. Yes, you must drink it hot. If you don't want to drink it hot, uncap that motherfucker, put it in your cup holder, and drive away for an hour. Then come back to it.
Yeah.
That, as I mentioned at the time, working third shift, it was at a Waffle House. So, I dealt with some stupid shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was a bartender for almost 20 years, man. Like, I have dealt with a lifetime of stupid shit.
Well, it's
I
even
spent a
worse
lot
as
of
you're
time in
making
the
it dumber
kitchen,
as the
too.
night goes on. You're not helping. You don't improve the situation. You make it worse. You're another shot, goddamn Funo. That's not dribble. That's not. There it goes.
Story of my fucking life, man. I swear to God.
And I think Randall and Dante both said it best. This job would be great if it weren't for the fucking customers.
Yeah.
The amount of times a day I've said that. But holy fuck.
That's what I felt about it at the end, like the customers in the industry fucking sucked, for the most part.
Yeah.
But the people I worked with were great, So that part of it was just that part of it. Right. Every day would have been like Empire Records,
Empire Records. There's a movie that the first time I ran across it, I was like, is this a Kevin Smith flick? I thought it might have been.
It's definitely the same vibe.
Well, it is the same, but I remember from a specific point forward where within the first 15 minutes I was watching the Guar scene with
you love Guar, why don't you join the band?
Like that whole scene, I was watching it from there, and then it ends with fucking them lip syncing Sugar High on top of the fucking building, and I was like, is this the same guy? You know what I mean? And I went back and I watched it again, and I saw it from the beginning. I was like, this is not the same guy, but it's definitely, there's a fucking era right here.
Oh, yeah.
This is a movie. And then you had the Stone Age, which was like this.
Oh
fucking,
man,
good.
Yeah,
yes.
Weird ass fucking throwback to the late 70s, early 80s, except it was in the same fucking vein, and it was all I feel it was all because of Kevin Smith.
Are those real puka shells?
Dude, I don't want a fucking ugly girl. I want to fuck a hot girl.
Yeah. Want some toss.
Dude with the zits and the fucking half shirt saying that to the other guy who has finally got the girl is the funniest fucking scene I can remember. And when I tell people about it, they're like, that's not a movie. And I'm like, it is. I promise it's a fucking movie. Please go look.
The Stone Age is a really... No, I'm telling you though, like it's one of those movies that I'm so glad I found it when I did, because that is the perfect movie when you're like 10, 11, 12 years old, scrolling through cable late at night, and you come onto this movie.
You get stuck. You can't
And it's totally
going.
one of those movies like where you see the girl and you're 10, 11, 12, you're like, oh my God, she's smoking. I'm going to watch this whole movie just for that. And
yeah, no, exactly.
Like,
She's
and
smoking
it's not...
hot, and the next girl you see on screen's like, I got to go take a shit.
But, you know, that's how you discover a whole slew of really cool movies in the 90s that you wouldn't have otherwise discovered, you know?
Late night cable may have been the greatest. Like, there is, what sucks, right, is that there is, obviously, like I said, not everybody will get this and or understand it, because there's a whole generation right after like our generation and right below it, that does not, like, there is no internet equivalent to that. There is no thing where you just scroll past an internet site and there's a fucking show.
Yeah.
And
well, here's the thing. There's a whole, there are whole genres of every, you know, there's almost subgenres or like sub-levels of every genre of film that were made back in the day that were made just for the cable version that you knew you'd have a 10-year-old watching because he might see a pair of boobs. And there were action movies that fell into that. There were comedies that fell under that. There were, you know, sci-fi movies that fell under that. There were horror movies that fell under that. Like every genre had that level, you know, that kind of like bottom rung, if you will, of like the B movie, C movie, D movie. And you know, some of those were fantastic. Some of those were really great, fun, funny movies. Than they
should have been.
A lot of them were. Yeah.
Just were.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, there was a whole genre that was just like blatantly not even hiding it. That was like, you know, Hard Bodies, Bikini Car Wash Company, you know, like that kind of stuff. Like,
I would argue the Last American Virgin, I would argue, belongs in that category. I know that, like,
totally,
100%. It was an early version. Fucking Porky's was dirty humor.
Yeah, Porky's. I'm not, you know, I always say this about Porky's. The best thing about Porky's is honestly the poster art, and the movie doesn't even really give you that in a way that's like as imaginative as the poster art does.
It's an absurd story that isn't that impressive. When you really break it down, it's not fucking great. It's one scene.
Like I'll take Revenge of the Nerds or Bachelor Party over fucking Porky's any goddamn day of the fucking week. You know,
even
those are masterpieces.
Yeah,
Bachelor Party was a masterpiece, but once again, it was designed like what you said. It was aimed at a specific group.
Totally. Yeah, we're giving you boobs every 15 minutes at least. Yeah,
it's fucking overdosing as it's trying to hump a hooker. Like that's what we're giving you in this movie. But we're going to imply.
But it's incredible. Yeah.
Also, here's Tom Hanks with his voice. You like it.
So goddamn good.
It is fucking wonderful. That's a great movie.
So where do you guys, what film between Clerks and Mallrats, what film feels more personal to you?
Oh boy. Honestly. Okay, that depends what version of me you're asking. Like, you asking
great question. Well, then do James today, and then do James when he saw each film.
James today relates more to Dante Hicks and Clerks.
Okay.
Right? Because I work in customer service. I don't work face to face with the public because I'm a line cook. I'm in the kitchen, but I am like in an open kitchen. So like sometimes like I do some light interaction, but it's not much. But like, I'm in the hustle and bustle all the time, and it drives me insane. And it's why I am the way I am. But whenever I first saw either or Clerks or Mallrats, I would say I related more to Mallrats because I lived in the fucking mall. You know what I mean? Like I would skip school to go to the mall. and just
definitely, yeah, I was of that era for sure.
Just fucking chill there.
Like, say, for anybody young enough who runs across this, a mall is a place where several different stores exist in an area. And there's an area where you can also get food from any place in the world. It's wonderful. Probably that's on a different level altogether. At one point in time,
if you were lucky enough to have a multi-level mall.
It's interesting.
Multi-level mall.
You're getting on something here that there used to be these things that, like malls, that was a place, there was a little something there for everybody, you know? You had your Hot Topic and you had your Abercrombie and Fitch. You know, you had your Sam Goody and you had your Saturday or Suncoast Motion Picture Co. You had the food court. You know, Suncoast was the best, dude. Ripped to a fucking.
It was the
ripped
only
to a
place
fucking better era.
Great guy could pick up a copy of Yorotsu Kanoji. Also referred to as.
But you could get Japanese animation on VHS or Laserdisc, or you could get sports memorabilia.
Not only could you get Japanese animation on Laserdisc, VHS, and possibly on multiple CDs, but legitimately the degenerate behind the fucking counter would point you to the shit you should not have.
Yep.
That dude would walk you to it and be like, "None of these are for you unless I'm here." And he would go back to the register and stare at you and wait.
What a beautiful era, man. And like, you know, there was some for everybody, you know, you could get fucking rich ass designer clothes, or you go to Spencer's Gifts, you know.
Jesus Christ, you know, when
get a fart machine.
So Georgia, Cobb County, Georgia, that's where I grew up, right? So Town Center Mall was our area for that. When Hot Topic first appeared, there was this whole like Christian moms thing about it, which I thought was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at the time I was like 17, 18 years old, somewhere around there. And I remember like, this is legitimately shit that's been at Spencer's. It's been here in different versions in every place here.
Right.
It's fucking coalesced it. They made it one spot for you to go to. And also, you guys fought this hard to keep gay people out of your county. Literally, it was fucking hilarious. Like, it was the craziest shit to me that the Hot Topic pops up. It's literally just clever T-shirts. And incidentally, if you could not find a way to get to Atlanta at the time, if you couldn't get down to 5 Points or an area in Atlanta to get this shit, if you were a suburban kid and you needed to pick up a studded belt, a spiked fucking collar, or for that matter, a new Exploited album, you could go to fucking Hot Topic.
Yeah.
It would be there.
Those were the days, man.
It was fucking great. It was wonderful.
Their listening station, you could listen to a full fucking record.
And once again, they encouraged it. They were like, yeah, go. By the way,
go for it. Have at it, man.
Did it stick to you? Yeah, I'll put it on that way. Do it the other way.
Yeah.
What a great time. What a great time to be alive, you know?
Yeah.
And for that reason, I think Mallrats was probably one that in general I related more to. But I would say, like you, my anchor point, or my anchor being rather, has changed, where I think when I was younger I would have said TS, and the older I get, the more of a Brody I think I am.
That's what I'd hope to be out of the two. I mean, let's be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. Yeah, that makes sense.
Only one of them met Stanley.
Yep.
And one of them got to take over hosting duties on the Tonight Show. You know.
I will say, by the way, as far as an introduction to characters like Jay and Silent Bob as characters would have made more sense if you had seen Clerks first. You would have said, you would have been like, oh, okay. But they still worked by themselves, which led me, like, Kevin Smith knew what he was doing. He's like, I made this film, now I get to make this film. I'm keeping the same people. And he ran with it.
Right.
I think that's fucking cool as shit. Added to the fact that afterwards he was like, fuck it, I'm going to keep doing it. And just kept going. I mean, we mentioned Dogma, right? Dogma, unfortunately, is still controlled by the fucking Weinstein, whatever the fuck it is at this point. Will not be released in any good form. Kevin Smith, I think, has tweeted about it. Like, he's pretty pissed about it because he wants it back.
Right.
That movie was the first time I went and saw a Kevin Smith movie in theaters. Right? Fucking glorious.
I think that was the apex of his pop culture power, his, like, You know, he is a mainstream name director, and he makes movies that have, you know, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Linda Fiorentino, you know, Selma Hayek, like these types of people in these movies, you know, Alanis Morissette, like
Fiorentino, that was after Men in Black too, right? Was that during Men in Black or after?
it was certainly right around the same time. I don't know if it was shot before or whatever, but yeah,
It was like right
then.
after.
I think it was right after. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was a year.
I want to say Men in Black was 97 and Dogma was 99.
I think it's Dogma might have been 98, but yeah, you're right. I think
98 or 99.
Yeah.
The issue, like,
Men in Black was definitely 97.
Okay, so it was after.
Yeah, it was after.
Which is saying
like,
something.
Almost
so
immediately.
Fiorentina decided that, and she was established at that point. She may not have been a household name, but like Men in Black definitely pushed her in that direction. And afterwards, Kevin Smith was like, "We need somebody to take this." Oh, by the way, I remember reading something. It was originally written for Joey Lauren Adams. Is that right? Is that the name?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the name, yeah.
Joey Lauren Adams. Is that
yeah.
that is?
Joey Lauren Adams.
Yeah, from Chasing Amy.
Her part was originally written for her, and she couldn't take it because of prior engagements or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, that's so Linda Fiorentino instead, and that is the reason why.
Might have been filming Big Daddy at the time.
Probably, yeah.
Oh wait, did Chasing Amy come out before Dogma?
Yeah,
Chasing Amy was
yes.
Do I have that backwards?
Yes. Yes, it was Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma.
Yeah. Yep.
So Chasing Amy and then Dogma. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if anybody has access to another computer and or a phone immediately that is not drunk. Please ask. I know there's a fact. The Linda Fiorentino part was originally meant for another actress altogether. They couldn't do it because of prior engagements, which is the whole reason that ended up happening, which still shows Kevin Smith's draw power at the time. Because it was shortly after Men in Black, right? So, I mean, it was a big deal. Yeah. I mean, she'd been in a bunch of late night, like Showtime stuff leading up to that. Not to talk shit about her because she was great in fucking everything that she's been in.
I'm looking it up, and also Dogma was 99. While I'm looking it up, I did come across that. So,
yeah, I would have been 19 or 20 years old.
I thought 98, yeah.
Look at me being all smart and things. But yeah, like, I don't know.
I think I really, like, young and old, I'm totally a Brody.
Yeah.
That's what I really.
Well, it's definitely not. That info is not on the IMDb trivia.
I read it somewhere. I'm going to look it up. I'll find it. I know I will.
Yeah, like, definitely the older I get, I see myself being more of a Brody than a kid.
It was off the Facebook page. It was off of Kevin Smith's Facebook thing.
Okay.
There was an interview where he was on it. Somebody asked him about something, and it led into it while he was answering. He said it was originally meant for her.
He's such a treasure. He's such a treasure trove of stories and information. Yeah, his memory, his recall is perfect.
Just watch any interview with the man. And just
let
him talk about it.
My favorite
that's why I love watching.
You know, his stories of Superman Returns, and I guess that's what the 2 years were between Dogma and Chasing Amy, and why it wasn't 1 year is because of Superman Lives, I should call it today, not Superman Returns, but the Tim Burton, Kevin Smith, Nick Cage disaster of a fucking thing that we almost got, that I so wish we got. I wish there was this weird ass fucking movie that existed that we could pop in that had Nick Cage Superman, and like,
I'm really happy they didn't give Superman to Tim Burton. I'm sorry, it's not.
No, I get you. I don't think it would have been good. I think it would have been weird as shit, and I think that's why I would have wanted it.
Moment that people couldn't explain later to their children, and I'm not arguing that that's a good or bad thing. I'm just thinking, like, as good as he did with Batman, like as great as both of the Burton Batman movies are, that's how bad a Superman movie would have been.
Yes, I agree, 100%, 100,000,000% agree.
Superman gets enough shit for being a fucking overpowered god. Like, he doesn't need that too.
I think it's interesting, you know, whoever is right to do Batman is clearly not right to do Superman, because they had David Goyer and Jonathan Nolan write Man of Steel, and those guys wrote all the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight movies. And, you know, Man of Steel ain't it, folks. I'm sorry. I had high hopes for the Snyderverse, but
it could have been.
It could have been great. It's Man of Steel was like one of the better movies of that universe for sure. But even still, like there's a lot that they got wrong, even with that.
They did.
But that's, another thing for another day. If we're going to talk about Superman, it has to be about fucking with the kryptonite condom in this episode, I guess.
Otherwise, he blows a load like a shotgun straight through her back.
Which is literally how he got involved with Superman, which is, it all comes full circle.
Reason why fucking Hancock exists.
Oh, God, yeah, I think you're right.
No, that's the reason that movie got written was because of that fucking statement. Somebody thought about it, and there's a whole cut scene in Hancock of Will Smith freaking out and throwing the girl off of him and blasting a load through his roof.
Oh, my God. Jesus Christ.
It is because of Mallrats. You can thank Kevin Smith for that, too.
Wow.
And on that note.
Yeah, why don't we cut to a break?
Feeling flat? Add some pop with new Sodalicious, the Soda Pop fruit snacks with the tingly soda sensation.
So delicious!
Sodalicious fruit snacks in Sodalicious soda flavors like cherry cola and root beer. New Sodalicious fruit snacks.
Because life without it is flat.
All right, so we kind of have an exclusive dropping this episode. Our good friend Charles made something really awesome, and we want to share with everybody, so enjoy.
Games and freaks. Every episode's a geeky peek. Dark humor, bright minds, they take the lead. In the Atlantic den, where all geeks succeed. From Facebook to YouTube, they light up the screen. Their nerdy, twisted charm, a true winning team. Atlantic Geek, and they're the ones to win. Covering it all from horror to wrestling. Mental health chats, geek facts galore. These geeks are the goats, what you waiting for? So tune in now, it's a geek show to end. With the Atlantic Geeks in a den. In a den.
I'm Louis, the lifeguard, and happy to say I rescued a drowning potato today. They drowned in its sour cream. Oh, what a shame, 'cause food's so much better when it's practically plain. So don't drown your food in mayo, salt, ketchup, or goop. Yuck! It's no fun to eat what you can't even see. So don't drown your food.
Would you like a chocolate-covered pretzel?
They're awesome.
They're a little melty.
They're a little melty.
Believing that one good turn deserves another.
or Michael Rooker.
No, that was one of the first movies where I chose to find out who that was, though. Like, I'd seen him in shit. Like, I'd seen him in fucking Henry, right? Like, I'd seen him in Henry.
Right.
I had to go back and find Henry after I watched Mallrats. I was like, is that the same guy?
You were in fucking JFK, you know, like Oliver Stone. You know, you're working with the best of the best.
You were with Oliver Stone. For fuck's sake, this is why you remembered. Enjoy your pretzels, motherfucker.
I say poor Michael Rooker in the sense that now every convention he goes to, how many times, you know, everybody has to be offering him chocolate covered pretzels.
Would you like a chocolate?
Even if they're not there for that, you know, it's they're gonna make that fucking reference.
Of course, I'm sure he's a smart guy. I'm sure he's come up with a really good way to fucking rebuff those all, because like otherwise the
I'm
dude
sure he's of the age now he can use diabetes believably. You know,
something like that. Yeah, say he's allergic to chocolate or you know, blah blah blah.
My God.
Some shit. But yeah, that's a great, and I think it's also part of why, you know, Mallrats, you know, it does feel like it's, of course, you know, more at that studio level, obviously, for many, many reasons than Clerks. But that third act, I just love that third act, you know. Like everything really comes together, like the whole Force thing and the tape and Ben Affleck and, you know, the father and hosting the show and TS. Like it's I argue to say that it might be the best third act of any Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah.
It was definitely the place where it had to have been, right? Like it had to have started off with whatever kicked it off, followed by that, and then like how are we going to end it? Also, how do we get there? Like there had to have been that. Like I can see that 100%. If for no other reason that even like the Pinion Den fucking just like the Death Star biggity band, the whole stage comes down. Like just like that fucking scene. You know that he wrote that in, and Batman was relatively like it was literally fucking 3 years old at that, or wait, 4 years old at that point, right?
Yeah.
So like that's the reason they wrote the fucking Fat Man Fly shit in there, because he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
You are correct at 100% that whole fucking third act in the movie had nothing to do with how it turned out. Honestly, you could have gotten there any number of ways, but that makes the movie.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's, you know,
Jenny Doherty in the fucking elevator.
Yeah, you know, there's like in any movie, there's a few scenes that you remember, and if you have like, you know, 7 of them, you have like a movie that'll live on forever. And most of his movies hit that number. Clerks certainly has quite a few of those, of course. Don't, you know, the old 37. You know, don't suck any dicks on your way to the parking lot is one of the great lines in, you know, pop culture history.
And of course the Death Star contractor debate.
Greatest got going out the fucking calling to re-up on the porn tapes. And I was honestly the milkmaids and the egg guy.
Yeah, the egg guy for sure.
It's like they're going to reach far enough back to find a fucking milk that'll never go out of date. Or the egg guy who's just looking for the perfect egg because he realizes how useless his job actually is. So is he a high school guidance counselor?
The video store montage. Do you have that movie with that guy who was in that film last year?
That one time.
Navy SEAL.
Do you have any new releases?
You saw what was it? Floor mats for fucking 97 or for fucking 78 Pontiacs or some shit like that. It was a fucking stupid question. But like literally, why are you supposed to answer that? You're supposed to be back there fucking taking care of a customer, and they're asking you the dumbest shit on the fucking planet. Like, no, we don't have that. We don't have any of it. I fucking hate you, and I hope your kids die. You are a horrible human being. Get out of my fucking. It's not an appropriate response. It should be, but it's not. Sorry,
I bet you I get that tape. I bet you're not going to get that tape.
I bet you won't. That's fucking. All right, so fucking Clerks is eminently quotable, even with the fucking any of the two-ply, like any of that shit. But like, there's any of that.
My love for you is like a jumper.
Olaf.
Did he say making fuck?
Did he say making fuck?
Some monster just attacked her in the bathroom. She just said she loved it.
Oh my god!
Holy shit!
Clerks.
What's up?
Yeah, we can lump Clerks. We could probably lump Clerks 2 in with this because I haven't seen Clerks 3 yet. But by the time we
my god,
you know, Clerks 2 yet? It's a tearjerker. Even if you don't
I know
we can't say anything about Clerks 3 then.
You can't. You already know. I bet it'll still fucking get you.
Fucking Christ, man. Well, I will say Clerks 2 is a phenomenal sequel. I love Clerks 2. I think is every ounce worthy of, its existence, and like it, I don't know if it really, in some ways it feels like it could have been, or maybe should have been, the end of the Viewisk universe. Like it would have been a really good place to end it.
It would have been a good wrap up.
It would have.
Yeah.
It absolutely would have.
After, without spoilers, if you watch Clerks 3, it also still carries on well. It does fine.
Yeah. No, it's true.
He's good at what he does. I mean, even the comic book stuff he does, like he did Batman Cacophony, which unfortunately will never be finished, but it was a great it was a good run. He's a very good writer. I don't know if he just writes what he wants to see, or if he just knows his audience that well. It may be.
Well, it's nowadays it's mostly he's writing the movies he wants to see because he's pretty much said that ever since he had his heart attack. He's like, I'm just making the movies I want to make.
Which all anyone should ever do.
Exactly.
I would say, by the way, in reference to that, Tusk, I know, like we mentioned it earlier, just throwing it out there. Fucking great movie. Even if you're not a horror person, I would suggest. Like people talk about it like it's the most twisted movie ever. It's not. It's fucking absurd. It's absurd. It's absurd all the way through. But it is good. The writing is good. The conversation is good, and the fact that he managed to make a story out of that fucking premise, once again, leads into how good of a writer he actually is.
Exactly. And then, like, you look back and you're like, wait, this is the same guy that did Clerks and Mallrats. And there's no way to relate the movies.
Yeah.
And you realize just how versatile he can truly be. And, like, I've heard a lot of people give shit, and I'm still trying to figure out why. You know what I mean? They can never give a valid reason. They usually just go, oh, this stuff just sucks. And we're like, okay, tell me why. No, it's just not funny. Why isn't it funny?
I think, especially what happens in comedy, you come out and you're fresh and unique and different. And if you're successful enough, you change the game a little bit and the room sort of adjusts to you. And literally, a lot of people, adjusted to, like I said, the styles of like Kevin Smith, Aaron Sorkin, Kevin Williamson, Quentin Tarantino, that like 90s voice, that meta self-aware thing. It became a thing, and then they hate you for it, and they just want your downfall. At a certain point, you get big enough that people just want your downfall. There's nothing left for you to do. I think once it became clear that he was a little bit more for us than he was for them, like, and I say that is like in terms of generationally, a little bit more for like young people and doing what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
I think like there was an expectation for him to become like a Robert Rodriguez maybe after Clerks. And, I think doing the Viewisk universe is going the opposite way. And like that's I think what we all kind of love about Kevin Smith in one way or another.
That's exactly what I love about him. It's like he makes the movies for himself and his fans.
Yeah, he didn't chase accolades or awards or like good career moves or any of that shit.
And he doesn't like bring in a bunch of outsiders either. Like his writing crew is the same crew on every film.
No, he's got the same. He has the same actors. He writes parts with specific people.
Actors, same.
Which is cool.
Same behind the scenes crew.
Tarantino does that. He writes parts with people in mind. And even running over to Rodriguez, but there is oddly enough, there's a correlation there. There is a correlation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Miramax.
They do a lot of.
Well, you think about something like Planet Terror and fucking
Death Proof, the Grindhouse,
right? You think about something like that, and you think, no, well, that you don't think Kevin Smith immediately. However, if you stop for a minute, Kevin Smith could have fucking added to that. He could have put a third part in that motherfucker.
Did he not do one of the fake trailers in the Grindhouse?
I fucking hope he did Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I will see what Hobo with the Shotgun is the greatest thing to come out of all of that. Hobo with the Shotgun is a masterpiece, and all those other movies are just okay. They're fine.
Did you watch Thanksgiving? the era when they finally released it. I haven't seen it yet. I've been waiting.
Thanksgiving? I have not. It's a killer turkey movie. I mean, you really got to be in that mood.
The only reason Eli Roth did it was because demand was high enough from the fake trailer.
Right. Isn't that how Hobo with a Shotgun got made?
Yeah, no, exactly. But Hobo with a Shotgun, Howard's last fucking starring roles. He is great in it. It is the craziest.
Dude, to this day, one of the greatest lines and line deliveries of my life, I think, forever is going to be when he's facing death and he says, "You're crushing my smokes!" That is just the fucking greatest. That is truth. Like, that's beauty.
If you look at Rutger Hauer's fucking, like, he was in, what was it, True Blood as a fairy king. But he was still great as a fucking fairy king. It's crazy.
He was amazing.
It worked, but he was good. It's Rutger Hauer. That guy could be dropped in the middle of anything, and even if the movie, like fucking Lady Hawk, when you describe what the movie is, shouldn't work. It should not work. There's nobody that should be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Let's do that. Fucking, you turn into a wolf, you turn into a hawk, and then there's this fucking weird Pope guy, and incidentally, this monk, sort of. Like, there's this whole thing, like, it shouldn't work, but because Rutger Hauer is in it, it does. Took it seriously and ran with it because he took it seriously, everybody else did too. I swear to God, that guy's got some kind of weird control over the fucking zeitgeist of the people watching the fucking films.
Oh, he's a masterful actor, just like as good as it gets. I mean, League of His Own, Daniel Day-Lewis, like kind of, just
he really was, and not given the credit he should have been. He was
incredible. He'd make anything great. He made The Hitcher, and Lady Hawk, and a ton of movies like way better than they had any fucking right to be.
The Hitcher, having watched that shit on USA Up All Night when I was a kid.
USA Up All Night.
Yeah, that's the one.
Damn, talking about throwback.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, Rutger Hauer fucking took it seriously. Same thing with C. Thomas Howell. He's in there with fucking Ponyboy, for God's sake. And he delivers. He makes it menacing. It's not the reactions, it's him. That was Rutger Hauer, man. He was fucking great at what he did. That and delivered one of the greatest fucking speeches or soliloquies or whatever you want to call it in movie history in Blade Runner. And it was all him. It had nothing to do with Scott.
Tears in the Rain.
All these memories soon will be gone, like tears in rain. That fucking statement had nothing to do with the original script. He just thought it fucking belonged. Along with holding the pigeon and cramming a nail through his hand.
That's so goddamn good. Too bad Rutger Hauer never fucking popped up in a Kevin Smith movie.
Because he's Rutger Hauer. He'll pop up in anything. Put on Rick and Morty, Rutger Hauer will pop up eventually.
But yeah, like these movies, like, okay, let me go back to Clerks 2 real quick. I really related to that one because I was working in McDonald's at the time when it came out, And so I was like, well, fuck, this is me. I'm like, why am I here? You know what I mean? Now, I was way younger than Dante was in Clerks 2.
Yeah.
But I could still
terrified of being there at that age.
Yes, exactly. I was like, fuck, that's only like
one of my favorite lines from that movie.
Not
hey, Coxstain?
Do you want to do a Coxstain?
You want to do a Coxstain?
There's only one trilogy, my friend.
There's only one return, yeah. They ain't the fucking king.
Ain't the king is the Jedi.
Oh yeah, Elias, and then of course the nods to Bachelor Party. You know, wearing your influences on your sleeve proudly. I think one of the calling cards that I love.
What was it? The filthy stud, the something in the stud. What was it? Sexy stud. What was the name of the
Kelly and the sexy stud? Kinky Kelly and the sexy stud.
She's Kelly. I'm
the sexy stud.
Fucking line and the delivery, especially from Olivia. I'm almost done. That fucking moment in that movie, it's funny as shit leading up to that, but that moment with everybody busting in and him being like, "Oh, gotta finish," cemented it in my mind. All
Absolutely
of it.
Classic.
But this Dunk is your dude. Kelly can be a guy's name too.
They're talking about this. Mark, just do it. Me and Bob will fucking invest. They had money from some fucking settlement with a monkey, wasn't it? Wasn't there some shit like that? There was something about the money that they had. They'd saved money from weed, but it was also settlement due to something, I think, involving. I'm not sure if I remembered it. I may not be remembering it correctly. I haven't watched the movie in fucking 12 years easily, maybe 13. There was something about how they made their money. It related to the previous stories, and that's why they had the money to invest.
I have no idea. But I just remember watching Clerks 2 and dying of laughter because of how much I related to it and just how ridiculous the whole premise was. And then they wind up in jail. Then we get a fantastic speech from Bob.
As usual.
And
yeah,
like one answer for everything. Pussy, man.
I think I even have the Clerks cartoon show on DVD.
I do.
You guys remember that from the late 90s?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
Very, very vaguely. I haven't seen it probably since then, but
again, like that's how big Kevin Smith was. I mean, that was like you were bored of things. When I think of the things that got like from a movie to a cartoon show in the 90s, it was like the biggest shit. It's like a Mighty Ducks, The Mask, Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber,
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a thing first, yeah.
The cartoon
first, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Kevin Smith is up there. Back to the Future, Karate Kid, Bill and Ted, like Teen Wolf, the biggest shit got cartoon adaptations. Rambo, RoboCop. Back then, Kevin Smith got to say he was part of that club.
Yeah.
Saturday morning cartoons at the time were sort of falling off, though, to an extent, too, though. Like, it's not.
That's true. I don't even know if it was Saturday morning, honestly. It may have been a primetime.
It was a primetime thing. I think it was on Comedy Central.
Was it really?
Well, I think it reran on Comedy Central. I think it was originally on ABC, honestly.
Yeah, maybe.
Like,
so I think it was a network show.
I know, like, you had the Oblongs, for example, but that was a Fox thing that lasted for a year.
My God.
Which was a shame. That show was fucking hilarious.
I never saw that.
You definitely, all right, so Bill and Ted's was definitely Saturday morning. Or at least for me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, almost everything else they said is Saturday morning.
Yeah,
sure.
I think it was just
but the James Silent Bob may not have done. I don't think. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was definitely a prime time.
Ace Ventura was a Nickelodeon one.
Yeah,
but even that one was still like it was the same thing. It was trying to contend, wasn't it?
Well, no, it came on in like the afternoons, like after school. I remember watching.
I'm thinking, honestly, that sounds like syndication to me. That doesn't sound like original
the original
airings.
version.
I don't know.
There's a lot of things that aired like weekly every day or something that you wouldn't even realize were
wasn't every day. I don't remember watching it every day. That's the thing.
Okay.
Well, now I'm curious about it because
I don't. But then I could be wrong. It could have been on a little later in the evening, Like,
it's not
you know,
that.
7, 8 o'clock.
The market was huge for kids. Like there was that was what they would have been aiming for, is to get.
I remember watching like Looney Tunes shit on Saturday mornings.
See, so
that
do
was
I.
when
I also remember
I watched the classics.
Okay, so when you say Looney Tunes, are you referring to the original Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck stuff, or are you referring to the?
I would go on Cartoon Network and watch the original classic Looney Tunes, like Hanna-Barbera show. Like,
okay,
because they would play like Looney Tunes, Scooby Doo, and all kinds of shit.
You remember
like
the Tiny Toons and when they came on?
Yeah, that was on Nickelodeon.
Oh, that was network too.
It was reran on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, reruns for sure.
But that's the whole thing. That like there was a serious push.
That's where I watched it on Nickelodeon.
Well, yeah, that would have made
like
sense.
Hammerman.
I still watched it at that point. There was a push at the end of the 80s and early 90s to try and recapture the Saturday morning cartoon audience, because that was the time to push new cereals, new toys, new fucking versions of toys, especially like Ninja Turtles, for example. Ninja Turtles went through multiple iterations of not just TV shows but toys, and every time they did it, they would revamp the series. It became a product, right? And it was always started with Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
Or if you were unlucky, you'd be relegated to the Sunday morning cartoons because nobody's watching that in their church. Yay, America.
Right.
I don't know. It's weird to me because I look back on it, and then like the VOSQ, like as far as the Jay and Silent Bob TV show went, it very well could have worked for a certain sector of people at around 11 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it did. I'm saying it could have.
Yeah,
I think there was a concerted effort to spread that around too, because like I don't know if you guys remember, but I think it was around that era that they would show cartoons on weekdays early in the morning. Like if you got your kid, you got up for school, while your parents watched the news. Like if you had another TV somewhere, you could be watching cartoons like before school. Like, you know, I mean, I think I'm sure that goes back like Howdy Doody, and you know that's just
just
goes back really far. Yeah,
gotta go back to the days.
I had
for sure.
For me, the stuff that I like for before I went to school, the Bionic Six, G.I. Joe, Transformers, GoBots. Oddly, I remember for a short period of time. But then again, I also remember
Transformers.
Jesus, I remember some old ones.
He was on Sundays.
That was a terrible show. I don't know why anybody liked it. Rainbow Bright was actually good, regardless of your sex. It was a good show. Go check it out.
You know, I remember watching Land of the Lost before school. Ever seen that shit early in the fucking morning before school?
Remember Dennis the Menace, Sonic the Hedgehog, X-Men, Spider-Man.
Rocko's Modern Life was another one I would watch before school.
A lot of Saved by the Bell before school. I remember that.
Saved by the Bell. TBS.
Watching okay, so Rocko's Modern Life, when that show first came out, I remember people complaining about to adult, and this was bearing in mind after Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
Right?
Ren and Stimpy is the most fucked up shit you could ever watch as a kid. I don't care what anyone says. That shit is fucked.
When I was growing up, it would show up on Nickelodeon. My dad used to watch it with me and laugh his fucking ass off, and I would laugh my ass off at him laughing his ass off.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm 40. I still don't get half the fucking jokes in Ren and Stimpy. That's how fucking whack those jokes are. Yeah.
Fucking, seriously, fucking smoke a couple of good bowls, and when you're done, drop a fucking hit, and then go watch. Maybe you'll understand where dude was coming from on his fucking jokes. Like, randomly, Ren and Stimpy. I still have nightmares occasionally in which the fucking Ren with his teeth falling out, but the nerves squeak.
Yeah.
Like oh god, yeah, that was part of the video game too. I remember that.
Animation history.
It was like the nerve endings are like
grinding his teeth until they disappear, and then the nerves like slapping each other.
Yeah.
Or the Booger Museum and shit.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Yes. I remember my dad.
Shit, dude. There was so much shit in that I just didn't even get. Like they would answer that the old guy, and you would see him from like the knees down. He had like those weird rubber nipples on his knees. Like I still don't know what the fuck that was. Yeah, it was like little bottle. Yeah, little like bottle things, like little. You know. Oh, I don't know. There was some shit going on with that.
And that horse thing.
But so maybe the Clark show wasn't the weirdest thing that happened in the 90s. You know?
No, there's definitely the 90s were a weird time.
But that's also the reason why, like, look at what was that show on MTV? Had the weird animation. Everybody was a yellowish in color. They had blue hair. Brian Posehn was one of the voices. Fucking, oh my god! The main character was a geeky little dude with blue hair who was living.
Aeon Flux.
Are you talking about Mission Hill?
That's it.
That was that MTV?
Huh? Originally, as part of their animation block, it came on after Liquid Television.
That had to.
You're taking me back to like 90s animation. I'm thinking of
Mission
Dr.
Hill
Katz.
originally aired on WB, I believe.
What I was getting, so Mission Hill,
yeah,
and Liquid Television came out in like 92, didn't it? 91, 92, somewhere in there, right?
Yeah.
Like Slow Bob and fucking Aeon Flux and all that shit. That was,
the State, like that takes me to the golden era.
Yeah, the State. Yeah. Which, by the way, I still have tried to track down their theme song because it's a great song. I don't know why it's good. I just like it. I couldn't tell you why. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't even understand what they're saying, but it's a cool song.
Well, my favorite sketch comedy bit ever might be the State, the Hellcat trailer, or Hepcat. I'm sorry, Hepcat. It's a fake trailer. If you haven't seen it, just go out and watch this. Google the State Hepcat. It's one of the funniest fucking things you've ever seen in your life. It's like a Footloose parody. Absolute gold. But yeah, I mean that takes me back to the Smith era. You know, this is the world that we had, and it's sad to say we're not in that era anymore. But he can. The good news is that he can still deliver. I think he can still do what he did back then, and we enjoy it just as much.
You know, there's a Clerks 4 coming, apparently in development or written or something. Yeah, okay. So if you follow, if you look up Kevin Smith's Facebook shit, he occasionally releases little things where I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know who's going to be involved in it, but there's another sequel involved, possibly. And the thing is like originally I was like, how could you? How could you? Yeah. Except I thought the same thing with Clerks 2. How could you? There can't be a Clerks 3.
Yeah.
Clerks 3 is fucking great.
Man, yeah, that's whack. We'll see. You know, I'm still upset we never got the Mallrats sequel. There's
also that. That's apparently in talks.
Multiple versions of it, I think, were written and scrapped.
Yeah, but it's part of it's because he doesn't have the clout that he once did, and that's probably because he doesn't want to play the fucking game. Is my guess.
Yeah.
There's too much give and take on shit. I mean, I guess he learned that with the Superman movie. Like you get he wrote that script multiple times to try and fit a fucking spider monster in that had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So that became the Wild Wild West.
Yeah. John Peters, the fucking spider, man. Jesus.
And he tells that story, man. That story is fucking hilarious when he tells it.
Oh my God,
You know that there's some fucking pain involved when he tells it. It hurts.
And I'll never forget that Tim Burton has a publicist named Bumble Ward, you know. There's certain details that just stay with you, you know.
I think
then he called back. It's like Tim Burton's like, hey, you know what? Go say this too. Like fucking Fat Smith. You know?
Seriously, for our age group. All right, so if you had in the early '80s, you had John Hughes, right? You had The Breakfast Club. You had St. Elmo's. You had fucking Home Alone.
16 Candles.
And there's not a name like movies that resonated with us. Kevin Smith is that guy. 100% he is that guy. He wrote an entire universe that still resonates with us. I mean, I could sit down and watch any one of those movies right now and be fucking thrilled that I'm watching it. Fucking Red State. Red State has nothing to do with the View Askew universe, but man, it's a Kevin Smith movie and it's fucking good. Because he's a great writer and he understands his audience.
He does. 100%. He knows us very well. Snoogans.
So what would you want to see as the next View Askew universe movie?
I want Moose Jaws.
Moose Jaws I'd like to see. I think Moose Jaws is going to happen. He already wrote the script. He did the whole thing, and it happened with Tusk. He did it with Tusk. He said, "Do you want to see this?"
He's got to complete the trilogy.
All he said was text Walrus yes, and he made Tusk. You know what I mean?
I would have said Mallrats. I would have said Mallrats, but now that Shannon's gone, I might say Dogma. I wouldn't mind seeing him revisit Dogma.
2 would be
a Dogma follow.
Interesting. That'd be very interesting.
Really good.
However, I would also argue that with Kevin Smith with Mallrats, right? I think he could actually tastefully write in the fact that Shannon it would be like an homage. I guarantee, like if he wrote a follow up to Mallrats, there would be an homage to Shannon Doherty, and it would be
it would be if you wanted to be really cute and cheeky about it, like you could have her role not recast, but like replaced with a new character that would be played by Tiffany
what's her name? Fucking 90210.
90210. Tiffany Amber Thiessen who took over. Yeah. No, not Kelly, not Jenny Garth, but the one who took her place in 90210 when she left.
Kelly Kapowski.
Valerie Malone, Tiffany Amber Thiessen, Kelly Kapowski.
Go from the facts of life in there to be the same thing.
Well, I can't say anything over that.
You could do Joe from the Facts of Life as for the replacement for Shannon Doherty.
There's no wrong way to Facts of Life.
Nancy McKeon in there, like, why am I here?
Oh God! From your lips to God's ears. I love Nancy McKeon.
No shit.
She's the best. Fucking good enough. Good enough for Michael J. Fox. Good enough for the rest of us.
But
fucking high school USA.
I think it's safe to say we all love Kevin Smith, and we thank him for his contributions to this
definitely
lovely, crazy, stupid world we call cinema.
We know you're watching
100%. And that's an interesting one. I would like to see Kevin Smith do, which would now be like a 90s period movie. It'd be interesting to make him just to see him like, I want to go revisit this I'm going to set a movie in the 90s. I don't care what it's about or whatever, but to just do a period movie like that, like a nostalgia movie.
The 90s. Wow.
What's that?
How does Kevin Smith view the 90s? That would be some.
Yeah.
That is once again some like meta shit. That would be every character, every statement they made. You'd have to pause it and look it up.
Jay and Silent Bob do the 90s. Oh, you go back in time. Oh, it's fucking perfect. They go back in time.
There, fucking me.
Boom.
You know what? You leave the theater with your nose bleeding.
Yeah, but it would be
watch that without a fucking aneurysm.
It would be better than the way. I was going to make a dumb cocaine joke, but I really don't have it in me.
But
Studio 54 nosebleeds.
I'd like to apologize to anybody who comes across this and is on cocaine.
Otherwise known as the California nosebleed.
But
for real, go do more coke. I think we're done.
Yeah, and go watch Clerks. Go watch Mallrats. Because if you haven't, why are you watching? Like, just go watch them. You don't even need a reason. They're great movies.
And something? Go watch Clerks 2 and Clerks 3, James.
Yeah. Yes, I know.
Even though I guarantee you know what's going to happen, it's still going to hit you. I knew it was going to happen. It hit me.
The reboot kicked me right in the heart. Anyway,
the reboot is like a fucking. It's like Old Maid next to poker. By comparison, it really is. Like
man, we gotta go that deep with it. Fuck.
There is some serious emotion attached to Clerks 3, and it is very clear from the moment it starts. And it's not just like there's a nostalgia thing involved in it too, but all you have to do is know Clerks, the first part, and a little bit of fucking Kevin Smith's life, and it hits. It hits hard.
Right. But yes, it was great talking these movies with you, Chris. Man, I'm so glad we were able to get this together because while this idea has been floating around in the Geek Den universe for, almost 3 years now, this meeting was thrown together quite rapidly. So I'm very, very happy we were able to pull it off tonight.
I'm super happy to be back on the Den.
Yeah, dude. Pop Culture Punk. Always great to have you in here. You are our official fifth Beatle, even though there's only 4 of us on the screen.
Yeah, man, that's me. I'm like the Eddie Murphy Beetle. If you ever saw that old SNL bit.
Right.
Yeah, I was the fifth Beetle, man. That's me right there. I was hanging out, right?
Yeah.
God, that was such a great bit.
It's always great to have you here, man. And we will have you back when we come back to the Kevin Smith retrospective to discuss Chasing Amy and Dogma at length. There's a lot we didn't touch on with Clerks and Mallrats, but I'm sure we'll touch on that later episodes.
For sure.
As we, as we talk back on everything. We like to go off topic. It's what we fucking do.
Yeah.
But yeah, until next time, I'm Jason, Craig, Pop Culture Punk, Chris Stiles. Thank you again, my brother. Much love as always.
Thank you.